All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to week 3 of our Proverbs 31 study. I am recording this a little prematurely because I have been called into work early tomorrow, but I didn't want y'all to miss out. So this will just be a recording and not a live, but neither here nor there. We are not going to stop talking about Jesus. So without further ado, let me start. Okay, so today is called Drudgery to Glory. And the verse today is Proverbs 31:13, and it is, "She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands." Dirty laundry, dishes piled high, dust swirling around the room every time you open the blinds, dinner to be cooked, pants that need to be repaired, a stain that won't come out, a child who needs help with their school project, a husband who needs his shirt ironed, whatever amounts to your to-do list. You know the mundane tasks of life well. Chances are you have a running list that never seems to get done. For far too long, these lists have placed women in shackles and left them in defeat. We have a tendency to view our everyday tasks as a waste of time instead of an opportunity to meet Jesus right where we are. Today is the day for transformed vision. The mundane tasks of life were gloriously transformed at the cross. No longer do we have to look at hard work as drudgery and misery, but we can see Christ in it and we can rejoice in the gospel through it. Gloria Furman, author of Glimpses of Grace, Treasuring the Gospel in Your Home, beautifully explains, "By faith we believe that God created us in Christ Jesus for good works." Ephesians 2:10. As we're making breakfast, we can plan the day around serving others for the sake of the gospel, knowing that this is what God has created us to do. The to-do list and the mundane task point us to our need for Jesus and our calling to be servants. We serve because Jesus served. He even made breakfast. Every normal activity of life is an opportunity to take up your cross and follow him. They don't keep you from living. They allow you to live in God's glorious grace. Verse 13 of Proverbs 31 refers to this woman's craft, skill, and day-to-day work. She literally is spinning thread from wool to make clothing for her household. The wool is for warmth in the winter and flax for lightweight clothing in the summer. Mundane? Yes. Hard work? Absolutely. Tedious? You bet. And yet we see her working with willing hands, not begrudgingly, not mumbling complaints under her breath, and not wishing for another life. Before I lose all my friends who loathe anything crafty, let's look at a little deeper into what this verse is saying. She knows what her gifting from God is, and she does it well. Working with her hands is a delight. Your hands can be tools to show your family, your friends, and those around you the gospel. My mama suffered from severe rheumatoid arthritis. Her illness made its way to her hands, leaving them crippled. I only knew her when she couldn't use her hands well, and yet her hands were so beautiful and precious to me. Though she could never hold me, she kissed my cheek with the warmest affection. Though she couldn't cook or clean, she could still raise her hands and worship at church. In her marriage to my papa, she was responsible for keeping the financial ledger. This was her way of serving faithfully with her hands, even though it was hard and painful. Some of the things we do with our hands hurt. With our hands, we care for those we love and also discipline our children. God made our hands uniquely to bring him glory in whatever way possible. Using our hands and working willingly is a beautiful opportunity to make Jesus known, even in the hard, soul scrubbing task. That is when the drudgery of the mundane becomes glorious. Lord, may we use our hands to serve you and to love those around us. Redeem every mundane task and show us your glory in the everyday happenings of life. We long for the gospel to be beautifully displayed like a tapestry of gold in our home, so that others may see Christ in us and rejoice. In 2 Timothy 1:5, we are introduced to a grandmother and a mother who were both devoted followers of Christ. Louis and Eunice were gems in the New Testament church. In this passage, Paul speaks directly about the sincere faith of Timothy's grandmother, Louise, and his mother, Eunice. Paul was certain that their faith dwelt in his heart as well, and he gave Timothy this instruction and reminder. For this reason, I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God, which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. Louis and Eunice were women who served the church well and created a heritage of Christ followers. Their example of faith exhibited power, love, and self control. It is a reminder to us that our lives are created by God for a purpose, and our actions affect our children, family, and our friends. As a mother and grandmother, these women without a doubt face the glorious mundane every day, but they used their task as an opportunity to live with a faith that was full of power, love, and self control. Their hands produce gospel fruit that still speaks to us today. How can you fan into flame the gift of God in you? In what ways is your life producing gospel fruit? So that's your question to reflect on for this. And then it says, read Colossians 3:23. How does the word whatever change your perspective about your to-do list? And the verse, I'm sure you guys have heard it. It's one of my favorites. It's, whatever you do, work heartily and willingly as though you are working for the Lord and not for people. And I love that verse because, the meaning of whatever is anything that you do in life, anything that you choose to do, whether it's activities at home or going to work or picking up groceries, I don't know, do it as though you are doing it for God himself. And so that's such a great reminder to me because, oftentimes I especially feel like, I'm by myself, like no one's here to witness me being grumpy or, rolling my eyes at something. And it's really good to put into perspective too, like if Jesus was standing here right now and I was looking at him, like would I still act the same way that I'm acting now? And 99% of the time I'm like, absolutely not. I wouldn't have an attitude or be upset or whatever it is. And so because in reality Jesus is here 24/7. He's always watching you and me and our friends and our family. So it's important to always act as though and do things for him as though it was for him and not for the glory of other people. So I love that verse. In what ways has God gifted you with your hands? How can you serve him with these talents? Um, I think that's a private, like not necessarily a private question, but something that you should look on and reflect for yourself. And then what mundane tasks do you need to give to the Lord and ask him to redeem for his glory? And I kind of want to go back because I really feel the story when she was talking about her mom and how she suffered from severe rheumatoid arthritis. And when her illness, got to her hands and she could no longer use them to make crafts, she says that she never really felt like she was missing out. Like though she could never hug her, she still felt her love and affection through other things, through her love for God. And so I love that too, because, sometimes the enemy does things to us and what he intended for evil, God intended for good. So I love that reminder so much because even though she, couldn't use her hand, she didn't use it as something that was negative and, say, well, I guess I can't do this anymore. And, kind of sit and complain about it. Like she still raised her hand in worship and did things that she could. So I love that she didn't let the enemy get to her in that. And let's see. Okay. Did I skip a page? No, I didn't. Okay. She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. That's Proverbs 31:14-15. Each morning, the sun faithfully awakens the dawn and stretches its rays up to the heavens. Whether you are in India, Antarctica, or America, the same sun is sure to rise and to set on each day without fail. And though the sun rises and sets faithfully, we act surprised at the dawning of a new day when the beeping of the alarm sounds beside our bed goes off. The early morning comes all too quickly and the day begins suddenly. We live in such a busy culture that seems to only get busier and elevates the jam-packed schedule that leaves little to no margin. Instead of rising joyfully with the sun to welcome the new day that God has made, we often rise groggily and miss the beauty of the morning. The Proverbs 31 woman rose to the same exact sun we awaken to each day. She was a busy woman with a lot to do, being responsible for her household and those who worked under her leadership. However, she used her morning hours purposefully. She sought the Lord before she sought to check off her to-do list. Being a busy woman was not an excuse to get things done, but a motivation to care for her soul and spend time with the Lord. She was given the exact same 24 hours we have each day, and she chose to spend them diligently and sacrificially. What we choose to do with our hours is up to us. Whether we choose to waste them, utilize them, worship with them, or be trapped by them is a daily decision. And the decision is made first thing every morning when our alarm goes off. We have the choice to fix our heart on Jesus or jump right into the mess. What is your mindset on an average morning? Psalm 5:3 says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly." How does this shift your mindset about mornings? And I love that because we have the power to choose every morning how we are going to set up for the day. And it's, where's my note? Hold on. I lost my sticky, but okay, anyways, side thing. So how does this shift your mindset in the morning? So for me, it's a really good reminder because I can choose to wake up in the morning and, dread another day, or I can wake up and say, this is the day that the Lord has made. And I am so thankful that he gave me another day of life. We are just so used to like, okay, I got to do this tomorrow and the next day and the next day, that we just think that we're going to be awake tomorrow, and we might not even know. I could have died in my sleep, and that could have been God's plan for me. So waking up every morning with a thankful heart has really changed my mindset. Waking up in the morning and not checking social media first thing. I do my best to wake up and just make sure there's no like emergent text messages that I need to reply to. And then I'll open my Bible app and I will, get to work on that, because for me, when I don't spend time with Jesus in the morning, I find that my anxiety is worse. I'm irritable, I'm grumpy, I'm moody, and I can tell right away that something's wrong. And versus the times when I do spend with Jesus, I notice, I'm more happy in the morning, I'm ready to attack the day, I'm less anxious, and I just have this like motivated mindset. And so there's definitely no coincidence to that. I know that that has to do with Jesus. So choosing to shift your mindset every morning to a positive outlook is a huge game changer and will set up success for the rest of your life when you choose to start with Jesus every morning. Whether you are a morning person or a night person, we all live during both times of the day. Every small decision affects the bigger goal of your life. With just the click of a button, you can be on social media first thing before your feet even hit the floor, putting your focus on the world instead of on the Lord. The Proverbs 31 woman understands that how she spends her morning and the first few moments of her day shapes how the rest of her hours will be spent, which is what I just talked about. Super true. She rises before the sun has made its appearance in the sky, eats from the sustenance of the word of God, and provides for her family. She rises first to meet with Jesus. Jesus himself rose early in the morning to spend time away from people and with the Lord alone, with no distractions. Our culture is so inundated with distractions that it can be a struggle to put our phones away, much less get away to simply just be with the Lord. However, these moments can be even more pivotal in our lives than the moments we spend getting things done. Looking to the life of Jesus, we see the fruit of living with a single focus and determination. Just as Christ rose early to meet with the Father, the Proverbs 31 woman cherishes her time with the Lord more than her sleep. Our mornings, our evenings, and our every hour in between have purpose, and that purpose is to know Christ and make him known. We cannot do this apart from feeding on the living word of God and choosing to have our identity only rooted in him. Write Lamentations 3, verses 22 through 23 in the space below. And it says, "The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies are new every morning." The Proverbs 31 woman knows that she desperately needs God's new mercies at the beginning of each day. She takes a bath in grace and is showered in the unending love of God. She begins her tasks and shapes her to-do lists around his perfect mercies that never run dry and give her hope and joy in the midst of all she has to do. Her food is the word, her joy is to obey it, and her days are spent pursuing the Lord. Lord, you created the morning, the afternoon, and the evening for your glory. Each day has a purpose, and each hour your mercies are new. We ask for willing hands that serve, a heart that rejoices at the dawn of each day, and for purpose to be instilled into our schedules. May each day count for all eternity, and may our focus begin in the morning. Mark 16 details a magnificent account of Jesus rising from the dead. This is the Easter story. Read Mark 16, 1 through 11. And so essentially 3 women, Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James, and Salome rose early with the dawn to visit the tomb of Jesus to go see him there. They came with the purpose of anointing the body of Jesus because he was dead with the spices they had prepared. Instead, they witnessed a miraculous work of God, the resurrection of Jesus. They came expecting to do one thing, but God had a plan to reveal to them the unexpected. With their own eyes, they saw the stone had rolled away, the angel, and the empty tomb. What was their response to this miracle in verses 7 through 8? Obviously, they were completely shocked and in disbelief. Um, and then it says, who did Jesus appear to first in verse 9? And it was Mary. And her response was, again, she was shocked, but they ended up going and telling everybody about it later on. Rising early in the morning, these women received an unexpected blessing from the Lord. They witnessed his miracle and encountered his presence, and they were compelled to go and tell. Their early morning choice to spend time with Jesus affected the rest of their day and the rest of their lives. What can we learn from their example? And I love this because I literally just had a conversation with somebody about this. So if Jesus, so they were expecting to see Jesus in the tomb dead, and they, that's just what they expected because they knew he was going to be there. But Jesus completely exceeded all expectations and was alive and rose from the dead. And so I love that, because if Jesus always met our expectations, then we would never be able to give him credit for anything that he did. You know what I mean? So I love that he completely exceeded that, because had he just, met their expectations, he wouldn't be, we wouldn't be here where we are today. So I think it's just incredible. And by choosing to follow him, he just blew all their expectations out of the water. So you can use that in context today, because by rising and waking up early and spending time with him and being faithful to him, he can just produce incredible miracles that you have no idea. There's so many times where I spend time with him in the word, and I'm, reading a little nugget about him or focusing on a verse, and then later in that day, something from that verse pops up in my day, or something that he was trying to teach me, I see in my day. And a lot of the times it's I feel like I'm being tested. I'll read about forgiving someone, or I'll read about being patient. Just last week I was reading about patience, and I was I feel like I'm a pretty patient person. It takes me a lot to get mad about something. And I was sitting in traffic, and I was this is BS. I shouldn't be sitting in traffic. The light should be green. And here I am being completely impatient. And I'm this is Jesus talking to me right now, telling me you just read about patience, sweet child of mine, so you need to learn to be patient. And so I'm sitting there going aha moment with it, because I'm this is exactly what I was just talking to myself about, and what he was just teaching me in the word. And here it is putting the word into context, and I'm over here totally missing the point. So I love that so much. Ask and apply. Read Psalm 35. Read Psalm chapter 30, verse 5. So let me pull it up on my phone, because there's 3 verses that come up. And it says, for his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. So it mentions the morning. And then it says, read Psalm 130, verse 6. 130. Verse 6. I wait for the Lord more than watchmen wait for the morning. More than watchmen wait for the morning. Again, it talks about the morning. And it says, read Psalm 46:5. And read Psalm 46, verse 5. Ooh, this is my favorite verse. God is within her, she will not fail. God will help her at the break of the day. So at the start of the day. So what do these verses say about in the morning and the follower of God? So basically everything starts in the morning, and what we choose to do and how we choose to start our day. So, and I love that, spending time with Jesus, he always just sets us up for the day and our mood and what's going to happen. So in our mindset. So choosing to spend time with Jesus every morning has been a game changer for my life, and I know it will be for yours too. And that's, partially why I wanted to do my Bible studies every morning, because I was like, I want these girls to be set up for the day, because I know how much it's helped me, and I want it to affect them in such a way that they, want to pursue Jesus. And that's how I kind of started with my habit of, digging into the word, because I was like seeing how focusing on spending time with him every morning was just changing my life and improving my mood and helping me be a better leader, because I wanted to be there for people, because I was just in such a better mindset. So that's partially why I chose the morning. The Bible does not state that you have to rise at a certain hour every day to be a God fearing woman. It merely points out a characteristic of who she is. She rises early to feed her soul and serve her family. In what ways can you incorporate this into your daily routine? And maybe waking up earlier or choosing to turn off the TV or phone to spend time doing things that will last for all of eternity. And so I kind of talked about this already too, how, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll just like use my drop down menu on my phone and just make sure that I don't have anything important there that I need to get to right away. And then I'll immediately open my Bible app in my phone. And I kind of moved it around on my home screen. So I have my messages like right here. And then I have a folder that says Jesus, and it has the Bible app, and then my podcast that I listen to, which is obviously about Jesus, but I have some on leadership, and then my notes. And I have like not private, but journal entries in there, like just me talking to God, or like random things like that will pop into my head. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Let me write it down. So I'll put that in there too. But I used to have it in a separate folder, but having it on my front screen and like right there has really helped me to like just dig into it right away. And then I also set up a reminder, or it's not a reminder, but it's just an alert on my phone. So like every single day at 8 a.m., the verse of the day will pop up on my screen, and so it just automatically alerts me, and I'll click on it and then get started with that. And then I also have it on my, like when you scroll over from your notifications, I have it the first thing on my home screen. So you can like switch your widgets or whatever on your iPhone to do that too. Because truthfully, he is the most important thing. And without him, none of us would be here today. So I choose to give thanks to him every morning, and just set up my day for that. And so you can do it however you want to do it. But I highly encourage you to take time out of your day every day to just kind of dig into the word and just spend time with him. And, it can just be talking to him, or, praying in the morning, first thing, waking up and just saying like, Jesus, thank you so much for another day. Like, may I just not take this day for granted, and may I just reflect on all things good that you give me, and then going about your day that way. But just, making this a shift in your mindset, because while some of our days like do kind of run together, waking up for work, and, working out, and then making my food, and then going to work, and then driving home, and then taking a shower, and then going to bed. Like all those are like everyday things that I do so much. It's just part of my routine, and it can become so regular, and I can like forget about how much of a blessing it is, like, yeah, it sucks that I get stuck in traffic, or that I have to commute 30 minutes to get to work or whatever, but it is also a blessing. I get to go to work, and I get to drive. I have a car, and I can drive my car to work, and I have money to put gas in my car, and I have the ability to help people at work, and, to take away their pain, or to fix them, or to save their life, literally. And, driving home, like I have the ability to drive home. I don't have to ride a bike or walk home at 11 o'clock at night. I get warm water. I have a roof over my head. I have food in the fridge. I have a husband that loves me. And so, it's so, so easy to just get lost in the everyday things. And I just want to encourage you to just reflect on it, even when you're having a bad day, or like, things don't go your way, or something bad happens. Just I try to reroute my mind, and I'll just say like 5 things that I'm thankful for. If something bad happens, or I'm annoyed at something, or whatever it may be, I'm like, all right. And I'm like, what are 5 things? And I'm like, I have my mom. Like, I love my mom to death. And that is such a blessing. Josh and I have food in our fridge. We have, berries and spinach, and we have, bread in our pantry. And that's a blessing, because not everybody can say that they have that. we have AC in our house. We have a roof over our head. Like, I have a bed that I can sleep in every night. I have a dog that I love so much. And I have a God that loves me more than anything in this world and always wants the best for me. So I hope that this Bible study was helpful today. It was very last minute, but I was just like, Jesus, give me the words and the wisdom to pour into my girls and my team this morning, because I just want you guys to experience everything that He has given me and that He can give you and us as a team. And so I love you guys so much, and I hope that He spoke to you through me. And I'm praying for you guys that we have a strong week and that He just continues to bless us in this and help us to bless other people. And happy Tuesday. Love you guys. And I will see y'all next week.